Hello students, welcome to the last lecture of solid state. In the previous class we were the topic at which we have ended was magnetic properties of solids. Now the next property of solid is electrical properties. In the magnetic properties we have seen how solids behave in the presence of magnetic field and in the absence of magnetic field. After giving the magnetic field also, will they retain their magnetic nature or not? Based on that we had 5 different types of solids, right? Now coming to electrical properties in solid. If you give electrical field, what happens to the solids and how they are arranged will come under the topic electrical properties of solids, right? Based on the electrical properties means if you give electrical energy to the solid, if you give electrical energy to the solid, will the electrons flow in the solid or not? That property is called as conduction, right? After giving electrical energy, if the electrons move, what is movement of electrons called as, or flow of electrons called as? Electricity, right? If electrons can flow in the solid or not, that is called as conduction. Flow of electron is conduction. Can all the solids show conduction? No. Conduction is having a range of values which is from the extent of 10 power 20 to 10 power 4 ohms, right? 10 power 20 to 10 power 4 ohm inverse centimeter inverse. Conduction or conductance is the property which you have to measure in different type of solids, right? If this range of conduction is seen in solids, who shows the least range, who shows the middle range of conductance, and who shows the highest range of conductance? Based on that, solids are classified into 3 types. First type is the solids in which conductance value is very high is called as conductors. The solids in which conductance value is very low is called as insulators, and the solids in which conductance value is in between conductor and insulator is called as semiconductor. Out of this much range of conductance value, the solids which shows highest conductance possible, that solids are called as conductors. That means flow of electrons is very high till the extent of 10 power 4 ohms. That solids are called as conductors. Flow of electrons is least possible to the extent of 10 power minus 20 ohm inverse centimeter inverse. That solids are called as insulators. And one more type of solid is there in which conductance will be there but not as much as conductor. So they are called as semiconductors. Okay. So now what happens inside the structure of conductor, insulator and semiconductor we shall see, right? Generally in a solid you will have 2 types of bands, right? When you give electrical energy, they start forming 2 type of bands separately. One band in which all the valence electrons are filled. All the valence electron present in the atoms of a piece of solid, right? If this piece of solid I am taking, in that there will be so many valence electrons present, right? All the electrons of the total solid get associated in the form of one band, and that is called as valence band. And another band or another area is there in which valence electron will not be there. That band is called as conduction band, right? Valence band has valence electron, conductance bands don't have any electrons, right? If you give electrical energy, what happens is in the conductors, conductance band is very near to the valence band and valence band is very near to the conductance band, so much so that they overlap with each other. So much so that conductance band and valence band comes close to each other and they overlap on one another, and therefore whatever electrons was present in the valence bond can easily go to the conduction band, and from the conduction band the flow of the electron starts. And from the conduction band the flow of the electron can start. As the conduction band is overlapping the valence band, conduction band easily takes the electron from the valence bond, and from there flow of electron continues, right? That is the reason why conductance value of conductors is in this range, 10 power minus 7 to 10 power 4 ohm inverse centimeter inverse. For whom? For first type, which is conductors, right? Let us look at the diagram of insulators. In insulator, the conductance band and valence band are separated from each other. Therefore, the gap is large enough for the electrons to jump. Electrons cannot jump by itself from valence band to the conduction band. If electrons cannot go to conduction band, how can they flow in the conduction band? How can they show conductance? Conductance can be shown only when conduction band gets any electrons. For conduction band to get electrons, these electrons from the valence band should jump or should come. Can they come? They cannot come because the gap between them is very high. Energy gap is high. Therefore, electrons from the valence band cannot jump into conduction band. If they cannot jump into conduction band, how can they move? They cannot move. Therefore, conductance value of these compounds will be very less, to the extent of 10 power minus 20 to 10 power minus 10. Right? This range of conductance value compounds are called as insulators, and the gap between conduction band and valence band in insulators is very high. Right? That gap is called as energy gap, band energy gap. And conductance band will be very low, at very low energy. Valence band will be at very low energy, conduction band will be at very high energy. Both cannot come near to each other, therefore electrons also cannot flow, right? This type of compounds are called as insulators. The third type of compounds insulators. The third type of compound is that compound in which the conduction band and the valence band do not really overlap with each other, but they are not even present far apart. They are present separated from one another, but not with much energy gap. Energy gap is there, but lesser than the valence insulators. Energy gap is present between the two bands, but it's not much high. They are not even overlapping like conductors. They are not even far apart like insulators. They are separated by a little energy gap. So even if the energy gap is there, as it is less, as the energy gap is less, the electrons from the valence band can jump into the conduction band and the electron starts flowing and the conductance can be possible. Such type of compounds in which a little energy gap is present between conduction and valence band and electrons can easily jump into the conduction band and show conductance are called as semiconductors. So, if the gap is less, if you give a little push up from an external source, electrons can jump into the next band. But from external sources, you need to give a little push up for the electrons to move from valence band to the conduction band. If you don't give, they cannot go by their own. Therefore, semiconductors will have very less conductance by its own. Its conductance can increase rapidly if you give external push-up. In other words, if you give some energy, electrons from the valence band can jump into the conduction band by utilizing the external energy which we give. So semiconductors conductance increases with rise in temperature, but conductance, the value of conductance for conductors will decrease upon giving temperature. Why? Because if you give temperature to the conductors, resistance offered by the solid in opposite direction will become more, and therefore if resistance is more, conductance starts decreasing. Here conductance is already less. If you give temperature, that increases, but nothing will happen to resistance. Okay, so this is how they behave with temperature. The third type of compound are nothing but semiconductors. Now what we will study is in the semiconductor. For us in today's technology, more applications are being developed by utilizing semiconductors. Right? Earlier we used to have conducting material widely used, but now they are trying to find out more applications utilizing semiconducting devices. Right? So let us now study how can we increase the value of conductance for semiconductor. For semiconductor, the value ranges between 10 power minus 10 to 10 power minus 7. Right? The value ranges between 10 power minus 10 to 10 power minus 7. This is for conductors, insulators and semiconductor. Please copy so that we will move forward. Okay. Now let us see what can be done in the semiconductors to increase its conductance value. This method in which we can increase the conductance value in a semiconductor is nothing but doping, which means if you mix any impurities from outside, into the semiconducting material to increase its conductance value, that process is called as doping. Mixing of impurities in the semiconducting material from external source to increase its conductance value is called as doping. Right? Generally you might have heard this word doping, in which sports persons will take some drugs which are not allowed and they will be called as doped. Right? Therefore doping means that compounds which are added externally into the semiconductor to increase the performance of semiconductor, just like the drugs which are being given to sports person to increase their performance. Right? So even doping also increases the performance of semiconductors and they start behaving more like a conductor. Right? In doping also we can do two type of doping. One type of doping is adding electron rich impurity. If you add impurities which is already electron rich, that type of doping is called as N-type doping. If you add impurities which are electron rich, that type of doping is called as N-type doping. If you add impurities which is electron deficient, impurity, that type of doping is called as P-type doping. Right? Let us study each and every type of doping separately by taking an example of semiconducting element like silicon, germanium. Okay, these two elements falls under semiconducting substances, semiconducting nature. Right? Silicon, let me take a crystal lattice of silicon in which all the silicon atoms are compactly arranged, right? As it is a solid, it must have compact arrangement of silicon atom side by side, right? Each silicon atom has how many electrons? 4 electrons, right? 4 valence electrons are present in each silicon atom. In the form of Lewis dot, I am showing the valence electron of each silicon atom having 4 valence electrons. Are the dots visible to you? These dots which you can see are the valence electrons of each silicon atom. As each silicon atom has 4 valence electron, I am showing 4 dots, right? This is the crystal lattice of silicon, in which each silicon atom is making 4 bonds with the other silicon atom, right? Connect these dots. These lines which you can see is nothing but a bond which is formed by 2 electrons or a pair of electrons, right? One electron pair formed one bond. Like that, each silicon atom is forming how many bonds? 4 bonds. This is a general semiconductor whose performance is not much high. How can you increase the performance of this type of semiconductor? Let us see by first type of doping, which is nothing but adding electron rich impurities. Silicon and germanium belongs to 4th group of the periodic table, in which 4 valence electrons are present. If you take any element from the 5th group, which is phosphorus or nitrogen, that element has how many valence electrons in it? 5 valence electrons. Let me take phosphorus as the impurity, in which the number of valence electrons are 5. What I will do is, this is pure silicon. Okay, this is pure silicon. In that pure silicon, I will add the impurity of phosphorus. So what happens is, phosphorus will come into the crystal lattice of silicon and take the place of any one silicon, right? So let me make the structure having one impurity of phosphorus. When phosphorus came inside as an impurity, right? So they occupy the place of one silicon atom. As a silicon atom has how many electrons? 4. Each silicon atom forms 4 bonds. Right? Each silicon atom has 4 electrons and their valency is satisfied. But if you look at phosphorus, it has how many electrons? It has 5 electrons. Out of that 5 electrons, 4 electrons are already utilized to make 4 bonds, but one more electron is left on the phosphorus, which will remain in the interstitial position of the crystal lattice. Which will remain in the interstitial position of the crystal lattice. This electron which is present in the interstitial position, if you give some energy, if you heat or if you supply heat energy, what happens is the electrons which is present freely in the interstitial position starts to move from one interstitial position to other, from other to the neighboring, from neighboring to the next neighboring. Like that, it will start flowing in the interstitial positions. Nothing but flow of electrons is taking place, right? Is the electron flowing continuously now? If there was no electron in the interstitial position, all the 4 electrons was at its places. If they move, that means bond will break, that's why they won't move. But that extra electron which is present here starts to flow inside the interstitial positions, making the flow of electrons getting possible by an impurity having extra electron. Having an extra electron. You can add any element from the 5th group, not necessary phosphorus. I have taken an example of phosphorus in which silicon is present and phosphorus comes into the place of one silicon atom. It replaces a silicon atom, and after making 4 bonds, one electron will be left over and that electron will be flowing in the interstitial position. In the lattice, I am showing only one phosphorus, like that so many phosphorus will be there when you add impurities. Therefore, so many electrons will be there in the interstitial position. So many electrons will start flowing in the lattice. Therefore, electricity increases, conductance value of the semiconductor increases. This type of adding impurity is the first type of doping, which is N type of doping. Adding electron rich impurities called as N type. Phosphorus, don't consider this phosphorus to be P type, therefore rather I will show nitrogen. You may confuse yourself by looking at that P to be P type. No, it's phosphorus. So instead I am taking nitrogen as an example. Let me take other type of doping, which is P type. In the P type of doping, you have to take elements belonging to third group of the periodic table. Who comes under third group? Boron family, right? From the boron family, whatever boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, thallium, from that third group, any element, because that elements have how many valence electrons? 3 valence electrons, right? So add any element from the third group as an impurity. Let me take boron impurity. Let me take the impurity of boron. Boron has how many valence electrons? Only 3. But silicon has 4 electrons. Silicon can make 4 bonds. Boron can make only 3 bonds. Let us see what happens if boron comes into the crystal lattice of silicon. One boron came in between the crystal lattice and occupied the place of silicon. As silicon makes 4 bonds, let us show 4 bonds for silicon. Right? All the silicon atoms are forming how many bonds here? 4. But this silicon atom cannot form a bond with the boron atom because boron cannot give one electron to silicon. Electron pair cannot be there. If electron pair is there, then only you can get a bond, otherwise it cannot. Right? Boron has vacancy and silicon has extra electron. Right? Looking at the vacancy, electron will not remain silent. Electron present on the silicon will not remain silent. If it sees any vacancy, it will try to jump into the vacancy and occupy that new spot. Right? So what happens? Electrons from the silicon comes inside this vacancy. But because it does so, what happens is silicon becomes vacant. One new spot gets created in the silicon. So looking at this vacancy, this silicon won't sit quite. So it will give its electron from the bond pair. This electron jump towards the vacancy and a vacancy will be created here. Looking at this vacancy, this silicon won't sit quite. So it will give its electron. After giving its electron, a vacancy is created on this silicon like that. If neighboring electron sees any vacancy, it will not remain in its spot. It will try to overcome that vacancy by fulfilling the vacancy. But after doing so, from whichever position the electron jumped, that position becomes vacant. Looking at that position, a new electron from that neighbor tries to jump in. Like that, trying to overcome the vacancy present in the crystal, all the electrons starts moving. Can you see in this region itself how much flow of electron is taking place, right? That small hole or vacancy is vacancy of electron is nothing but a hole which is positively charged. Looking at the positive charge, electron flows, and looking at that new vacancy, this electron flows. Looking at this vacancy, this electron flows. Like that, the chain gets initiated in the total crystal lattice and the movement of electron begins, and that is nothing but flow of electrons. and this is how conductance value increases by doing even p-type doping. Even if you add any compounds which is deficient in electron also, the flow of electron will begin suddenly in the lattice, and that is how conductance value. We want flow of electrons to happen in the lattice. How? That is not our concern. How the electrons are flowing is not our concern, but electrons should flow. Here the electrons are flowing to overcome the vacancy, but that's not our concern. Our concern is, are the electrons flowing in the lattice or not? Yes, it is flowing. Therefore, if it is flowing, conductance value increases and the total crystal shows conductance value higher than the one which is not doped or the one which is pure silicon. Pure silicon has all the bonds fixed. No electron will move from its place because everyone got their valencies satisfied, right? So this is how conductance can be enhanced by mixing any impurity from outside. If you mix any impurity from fifth group of the periodic table, like phosphorus, nitrogen, etc., that type of doping is called as N-type doping. If you mix any impurity from third group of the periodic table, like boron, aluminium, gallium, indium, that family, elements starts showing the flow of electrons, and that type of doping is called as p-type doping. By this we have finished solid states. If we have any doubts, we will clarify in the physical classroom shortly. Okay, thank you.